Hello everyone. Today we'll be going over integers and operations on integers. So definition first, what is an integer? An integer includes whole numbers and negative whole numbers, and it can be positive, negative, or zero. And we denote the set of integers with the symbol bold Z. So it's basically a Z with an extra line to it. Okay, so Z with an extra line here. Now let's go over some examples of integers. Well, negative 5 is an integer. Negative 100 is an integer. Or positive 1000 is an integer. 0, of course, is also an integer. And then we have 20. And also 4 over 2 will be an integer because 4 over 2, if you simplify it, it's just 2. Okay? So anything that's on this line, 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, etc. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. These numbers are all integers. Notice that it doesn't include any decimals. It's not like 0.5, and it doesn't include any fractions like 3 over 2. Okay, so these are our counting numbers. So the number used to count. For example, how many students are there in our class? You count 1, 2, 3, 4 students. You're not going to say, oh, 1, 2, 3, and then 3.5 students, right? That's not possible. So integers are counting numbers, positive counting numbers, negative counting numbers, and 0. Now let's write down some numbers that are not integers. Well, for example, negative 4.3 is not an integer because it has a decimal part. And negative 0.3, so positive 0.3333 repeating. This is not an integer either, it's decimal. And then we'll have pi. Pi is 3.14, etc. So it's not an integer either. 3 over 4 cannot be reduced to an integer, so not an integer. And then 3.5, again, same problem, cannot be reduced. And root 5. Root 5, if you try to calculate it using your calculator, it's going to equal to 2.6, etc. It's a infinite decimal, so it's not an integer either. Okay, so integers only include positive, negative, and 0 counting numbers. Okay, now that's the basics of integers. Let's learn how to add integers. Or let's review how to add integers. So I have two rules. When the numbers have the same signs, if the signs are the same, then you're going to add the integers and keep that sign. That's first rule. Second rule, if the signs are different, if the two numbers have different signs, you're going to subtract the numbers, and then you're going to keep the sign of the integer that's further from 0. What does that mean? What does further from 0 mean? Well, let me give you an example. So let me use a number line. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we're comparing two numbers, let's say negative 3 and 4, which number is further from 0? Well, of course, 4 is the number that's further from 0 because there are 1, 2, 3, 4 units between 0 and 4, but there's only 1, 2, 3 units between 0 and negative 3. So 4 is further away. So we'll say that 4 is further, and that's what it means. Okay, now let's do some examples together. First example, 4 plus 5. Well, what's the sign of the two numbers? If there's no sign, it means it's positive. So 4 is positive 4, plus 5 is positive 5. So positive 4 plus positive 5, they are the same sign. We're going to use the first rule. We're going to add the two numbers. 4 plus 5 is 9. We're going to keep the sign. Well, both of them are positive, so the sign will be positive. So it's plus 9. And you can write it as just 9. Either way will be fine. Okay, the second example. 8 plus negative 5. 8, it doesn't have a sign, so it's positive 8 plus negative 5. Now you can see that the two numbers, one is positive, one is negative, so we're going to use the second rule when the signs are different. When the signs are different, you're going to subtract the numbers. How do you subtract? You're going to subtract the smaller one from the larger one. So 8 minus 5, and that's equal to 3. So subtract the numbers and then keep the sign of the integer that's further from 0. Which number is further from 0? 8. Positive 8 will be further from 0. So the answer will be positive 3. We're going to keep the sign of the positive 8. Okay, so basically, if you ignore the sign, the positive and negative sign, whichever number is bigger will be further from 0. Okay, just like these two. If you ignore the sign, the negative and the positive, 4 is bigger than 3, and so 4 is further from 0. Okay, next example. Negative 6 plus 7 is positive plus positive 7. And so different signs, we're going to use rule 2. Subtract the two numbers, 7 minus 6, that's 1. And then keep the sign of the integer further from 0. And 7 is greater than 6, so 7 is further from 0. And we'll keep the positive sign. And last one, negative 3 plus negative 8. They're both negative, so you're going to add the integers, 3 plus 8, so 11. And you're going to keep the sign. They're both negative, so we're going to keep the negative sign. Okay, now we have 4 you try question. Please pause the video and try these 4 questions yourself, and then continue when you finish just to check the answers. Okay, now welcome back. Let's try these 4 questions together. So 17 plus 29, they're both positive. So you're going to add the two numbers. 7 plus 9 is 16. 1 plus 1 plus 2. So 46, and they're both positive, so positive 46. Next one, both negative, so we're going to add the numbers. That's 66. And then we'll keep the sign, both negative, so the sign will be negative. Okay, the third question, 1 negative and 1 positive, so you're going to subtract the numbers. So take away 1, 13 minus 7 is 6, and then we have 4 left. 4 minus 1 is 3. So negative 36, not negative. So 36 will be the answer. And then, well, which number is further from 0? Well, negative 53 is further from 0. So we're going to keep the sign of the negative 53, which is negative. So our answer will be negative 36. The last one. Positive 34, negative 41. They are different signs, so you're gonna subtract the numbers. 11 minus 4 is 7, and 3 minus 3 is just 0. So the answer is 7, and which number is further from 0? Well, negative 41, so we're gonna keep the negative sign. Okay, so that's addition. And now let's move on to subtracting integers. Okay, to subtract integers, one of the method you can use is to add the opposite. Okay, so let's see what it means. Well, adding the opposite, there's a rule that's keep the first number for 6, and then you change the minus, change the minus to plus. That's add here, add. And then the opposite is the opposite of the second number. So opposite of -4, positive 4 will be -4. So then this will become 6 plus -4. And so it became an addition problem, and you use the rules for addition for this question. And so these two numbers have different signs, so you're going to subtract them. So that's 2. And then 6 is further from 0, so it's going to be positive. So positive 2. Okay. And another way without following this rule is to look at the double sign directly. So minus plus will be minus. So this one will be 6 minus 4, which is 2. So let's look at the second one. Well, again, we're going to keep, let's write that down, keep, and then change the sign, and then change the number of the second, change the number of the second one, change the sign of the second one. So keep the first number, -7, change the operation to positive, and then change the second number to the opposite, so -4. So it's -7 plus -4. Well, they have the same sign, so you're going to add the numbers, 7 plus 4, 11. And you keep the sign both negative, so keep the sign negative, so that'll be -11. Okay, third question. Keep, so +9, change, become plus, and then change, become +2. Keep, change. Okay, so that's basically then 9 plus 2, which is 11. And if you don't like this, add the opposite method, you can always use the double sign as well. So minus plus will be minus. So basically -7 minus 4, -11. And same for this one. Minus will become a plus. So a +9 plus 2 will be +11. Okay, last one. Keep the first one. Change the operation, and then change to the opposite. So that is, they have different signs, so you're gonna subtract them. 5 minus 2, so 3. And then 5 is further away from 0, so you do positive 3. Okay, so again, for your try question, please pause the video and try these 4 questions, and then continue to check your answers. Okay, let me show you the answers for these 4 questions. For the first question, you should get -8. Second one, you should get -4. And then C, you should get +19. And D, you should get -7. Okay, last part, multiplication and division of integers. So for multiplication and division, we have some sign rules. Okay. First one, the product or quotient of two integers with the same sign is positive. Same sign is positive. And the product or quotient of two integers with different signs will be negative. And so what does product and quotient mean? Well, product is the answer to a multiplication question. Multiplication. And then quotient is the answer to a division question. So then what these two rules says is basically if you have same signs, positive, so if you have a plus times a plus, both numbers are positive, so the answer will be positive. If you have a negative times a negative, again, they're both negative, so it's going to be positive. And then different signs will give you a negative answer. So if you have a positive number times a negative number, it's going to be negative. If you have negative number times a positive number, it's going to be a negative number. Okay, so let's try these questions together. Well, first question. -3 times -6. Both numbers have the same sign, both negative, so the answer will be positive. And 3 times 6 is 18, so positive 18. Next one, 15 divided by -3. This time they have different sign, so the answer will be negative. So 15 divided by 3 then will be 5. Okay, next one, -4 times 9. One is negative, one is positive, different signs. The answer will be negative. So 4 times 9 is 36. And last one, -3 times -5, both negative. The answer will be positive. So 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, so we have last 6 you try question. Please pause the video, try these questions, and then come back and check your answers. Okay, so the answer for the first one is +8. And for B will be -5. And for C, the answer is -90. D, the answer will be -14. E, +12. And F, -15. Okay. Alright, so that's it for today's video. Please let me know if you have any questions.